Good morning, bore da, croeso. Welcome to Wrexham Circuit Sunday service on Zoom. Today's reading is from Matthew chapter 14 and is read now for us by Liz.
Jesus walks on the water. Immediately he made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead to the other side, while he dismissed the crowds. And after he had dismissed the crowds, he went up the mountain by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone. But by this time, the boat, battered by the waves, was far from the land, for the wind was against them. And early in the morning, he came walking toward them on the sea. But when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified, saying, "It is a ghost." And they cried out in fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them and said, "Take heart, it is I. Do not be afraid." Peter answered him, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." He said, "Come." So Peter got out of the boat, started walking on the water, and came towards Jesus. But when he noticed a strong wind, he became frightened and began to sink. He cried out, "Lord, save me." Jesus immediately reached out his hand and caught him, saying to him, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" When they got into the boat, the wind ceased, and those in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." Thanks be to God for this reading.
Yes, thank you, Liz. And Patrick will bring us his thoughts on this passage. So over to you, Patrick.
Okay. Peter is perhaps one of my favourites, and he's sort of so human. And, at times I've always thought of him as being like an honorary Irishman. He sort of jumps in and sinks afterwards. But I want to take 4 incidents today. I'm not going to take 2 hours. And one is this incident. And the second I want to link with it is when Jesus asks the disciples, "Who do men say that I am?" And Peter comes out with, "Oh, you're the Christ, the Son of the living God." Then there's that moment when, on the day when Jesus was under arrest, Simon was there. He was in the courtyard of the high priest. And when he was challenged, his courage went. And he said, "I don't know the man. I've never heard of him." So that's 3. Now, what's the 4th one? The 4th one, I think, is where I forgot what the 4th one is, but we'll come to it in a minute. But that's the 3. I think they give us an indication of faith sometimes can be very strong. We know, great is thy faithfulness. We know that we're in the hands of God. We know that there is nothing in all creation that can separate us from the love of God in Christ Jesus. We know this. But yet at times, when we're faced with great challenges, it seems to just go from us. And we begin to flounder like Peter in the water. He knew that if Jesus could walk on the water, Jesus said, "What I can do, you can do." But yet he still slipped under. He had the great confidence in who Jesus was. He was the Son of the living God. He was the Christ. And yet, when it came to the moment, he couldn't accept the challenge of saying, "Yes, I know the man." So Peter reminds us that our faith can sometimes be very, very strong. And it's very easy to have great faith when everything around us is going well. But when things challenge us, as this period in time is challenging so many. When things challenge us, we then begin to wonder, and a voice says to us somewhere in the background, now, where is your God? Where's that great faith? Where's the faith that you professed when you recognized Jesus as the Messiah, as the Christ? So Peter is a person who is so human. I'm so glad we know so much about him, because, you know, you can have saints. I grew up with saints all around me when I went to church, and with statues left, right, and centre. But many of us are not like that. Even the very saints themselves, they had moments of darkness. There's a verse that comes to mind, days of darkness still come o'er me, but by his hand I'm gently led. We need to have that faith that holds on when things go wrong. The faith that is there, knowing that we are in the hands of one who loves us. I was reminded this week of a little incident, and I had a picture I was hoping to find and show. But back in 1979, when we were in Germany, we went for a holiday in the Harz Mountains. And at that time, the low wall and the barrier between East and West Germany was there. The Harz Mountains was separated by it. And with Chris and David and Sheila, we went for a walk. And Chris was probably around about 8 or 9. And as we walked, we were constantly seeing, just a little bit down the way, we were seeing these barriers, these watchtowers. And we were conscious of being watched all of the time. And Chris said to me, Daddy, as she held my hand even harder than before, Daddy, I don't like it here. Let's get out of it. There was a sort of sense. And yet she took my hand. She knew that I was there. She was safe. And that's the way sometimes with God. We sometimes need to just reach out and say, Lord, I don't like what I'm going through, but look, just carry me through it. Our faith is a very fragile thing. It can go up and down. When we're in a great big crowd and all worshiping together and enjoying the hymn singing, which we may not be able to do for some time, mind you, I don't sing anyway, but we are lifted up by the combined faith of us all, but days when we're all on our own. When maybe we're waiting for a doctor's diagnosis for ourselves or a friend, oh, that moment, our faith gets very weak. And yet, God doesn't change. He is still there. So this morning, really, what I want to say is, even though God seems far away, we are still in the palm of his hand. We are still being held by him. So take courage. Whatever you're facing, God is there. He is with you.